What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel and check out the content. And with that being said, man, I think LeBron James, in my opinion, is in the process of finding out that it's very important. The people that you pick to be your role models, the people that you pick to be your like your mentors and stuff like that, right? Because when you look at what's going on with Jay-Z, now remember, LeBron James said that, he really looked up to Jay-Z and he admired Jay-Z and he didn't want to do anything to let Jay-Z down. Now, so you see everything that Jay-Z is going through, and you see the way that Jay-Z has done business and he has operated, how Jay-Z has treated people over the years. And in a lot of ways, when you see how LeBron James has treated people the same way Jay-Z has treated people, right? And so these kind of things for LeBron James are starting to come up, like with LeBron James and some of the relationships that he had on the basketball court are coming back to, and people are starting to speak out about, like what LeBron James was like as a teammate. Now, if you are somebody who, and all right, so if you play professional sports, you're gonna have some guys who don't like you because you know, and that's one thing because I know like not everybody who played with Kobe like Kobe. Not everybody who played with Mike like Mike, right? Only basketball player I can think of that's probably universally liked is probably Magic Johnson, right? But other than that, even Larry Bird, like Robert Parrish said, he ain't like some of the things that Larry Bird did. So everybody has that, right? But when you go to the extent of being passive aggressive and doing things that really mess people that could affect their lives outside of basketball, as far as having people traded, as far as the agency you affiliated with, having them use them as pawns and stuff like that. When you start using people like that in order to for you as an individual to benefit, it just takes it to another level, right? And those are some of the allegations that are out there about LeBron James as far as like his teammates. Not, not anything just to do with basketball, but like, like people are saying that he really legitimately really cost them money or cost them some a spot on a team and things like that, right? And so those kind of things really are gonna come back and bite LeBron James, right? And I want to play a video because, like I said, as a it's important to make sure that you are you choosing your role models and your mentors. And LeBron James, in his defense, when he met Jay-Z, I think he was a teenager, right? But still, as you get older and you learn, you gotta be able to separate yourself from certain people. And this video right here of Dick Gregory telling about how athletes and entertainers are, man. I just think that, and it's a short video, but the video just says it all.
The phone book. I never had a bodyguard. The filthiest people on this planet is athletes and entertainers. Okay, you with this show have done more for the humanities than 99% of all the athletes and entertainers on the planet. But they've even tricked you to believe that you ain't nothing but doo-doo and they something big. They ain't nothing but a piece of shit, man. All of them, a handful of them will break through like Ali. Handful of them will break through. In the phone book, I never.
All right, so and I think that Dick Gregory said this years ago, right? And I still think that this holds true today. That when you're dealing with athletes and entertainers, you just have to be careful, man, because some of these entertainers and athletes sell their souls to get to where they want. Right. Just imagine if you're dealing with somebody like a Jay-Z and Jay-Z done made some he done sold his soul. And so you thinking that you want what Jay-Z had, and then you come to realize that you have to make the same kind of deals that Jay-Z made. And some you may not, you may come to regret that. And most of the time you will come to regret that later on in your career. So it is very important for people to be able to pick the right role models. And yeah, when you hear about some of the things that these athletes and these entertainers, even if you're thinking about like the things that Puff Daddy was accused of, man, or the allegations against him and the allegations that's against Jay-Z, it's just crazy, man. So people, yeah, definitely they seeking fame and fortune, but the things that you have to do in order to accumulate that fame and fortune is just not worth it, in my opinion. Then on top of that, 9 times out of 10, you destroy other people's lives, and then in the end, your life get destroyed. Like, look at what P Diddy is going through. I don't know. His life is basically, is basically destroyed. So I don't see how people keep falling for the same trick. Chasing fame and fortune and being willing to step over anybody to get it when you see, like what everybody is going through. Like you see that you ruin other people's lives, and then in the end, you wind up not really having anything, and your life get ruined in the process too. So that's my take on it. I just like to. I'm taking just a continuous look at like what's going on with LeBron James. And I already see the writing on the wall. Financial issues. Some skeletons I think are going to probably be revealed. You know, um, because once these dark forces are done with you and they don't need you anymore, then then once they don't need you, then they're gonna just use you up and throw you away. And so LeBron James, like any skeletons that he have in his closets, all that stuff is going to be definitely exposed. Um, and you take him down financially. They're gonna do everything to ruin his reputation. So for as famous and as popular as he was on the good side of things, I think it'll probably be just as bad on the other side of things, man. And because LeBron, I mean, they just not going to be able to, or they're not going to want to reward somebody. Once they make you, then they can break you, and that's the only thing that really can save you as a athlete entertainer. It's just not. Um, you got to be your own man and your own, and stand on your own too. Don't expect or allow anybody to give you anything free. No free ride, no free lunches, and none of that stuff, man. You gotta stand on your own, but it's crazy what these athletes and entertainers do in order um to get to where they want to go as far as seeking fame and fortune, and then end up with nothing. And I keep saying that in my videos, like how these athletes, most of the athletes end up broke anyway. 90%. That's crazy. That's not even 90%. Like if you are a lawyer and you win 90% of your cases, man, you I mean, that's like you the federal government. Like the federal government I think 90 some percent of their cases. And so you in any profession, if you get a hit, 90%, that's so it's not a if you was a baseball player and you was getting a hit 90% of the time, they would drug test you, they would examine the bat you using because they know like 90% that just don't happen. So it's definitely, in my opinion, a conspiracy. Like 90% of all athletes and entertainers. Well, now I ain't gonna say entertainers, but most of the because I don't know what percentage, but a high percentage of those guys go broke too. Rappers broke, basketball players broke, football players. 90%. That's not a coincidence. That's it's definitely not a coincidence. So that's my take. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, man, I'm going to check y'all out in the next video. Peace.